The police didn't come because of violence. They didn't come because of danger. They came because a black child was laughing too loud, on his birthday. In broad daylight with balloons in the yard and cake on the table, sirens cut through the joy like a blade. A smile froze, music died, and a 7-year-old boy learned a lesson no child should ever have to learn. What the officers didn't know was that this moment was being recorded, and one phone call was about to end their careers forever. Stay with me, because this story isn't just about a birthday, it's about power, pride, and the cost of stealing a child's joy. The music stops first. Not the laughter, not the sound of little feet running across dry grass. Just the music, cut off so sharply it feels like someone reached into the air and pulled joy out by the cord. 1 second there is rhythm, clapping, a beat that matches the pounding of a happy heart. The next second, there is silence so loud it makes people turn their heads. It is the middle of a bright afternoon, the kind of day where the sun doesn't hide. The sky is wide and blue, stretched open like it's watching everything on purpose. Balloons sway gently from a folding table, their strings dancing in the light breeze. Red, blue, gold. They glow like they were meant to be seen from far away. A banner hangs a little crooked, taped to the fence, letters spelling out a name in bold colors. Happy birthday, nothing fancy, just love. At the center of it all is a little black boy standing on a plastic chair. A crown sits slightly sideways on his head, too big for him, slipping every time he moves. He doesn't care. He is smiling so wide it almost looks painful, like his face might crack if he smiles any harder. His cheeks are round. His eyes shine. In front of him is a cake with uneven frosting and candles already melting from the heat. He leans in, takes a breath, and blows. The candles go out in a rush of smoke and cheers. His mother is filming everything on her phone. Her hands are shaking, but not from fear. From happiness. From pride. From the kind of joy that sneaks up on you when you finally give your child something you were afraid you couldn't. She laughs behind the camera, telling him to make a wish, telling him she loves him. Her voice is soft, careful, like she wants to save every second. Then the sound cuts through the air. Sirens, not distant, not fading, close, sharp, growing louder by the second. At first, some people think it's part of the neighborhood noise, a car passing, an ambulance far away, but the sound doesn't pass. It comes closer, louder. It slices through the laughter and chatter, through the clapping and music, through the moment itself. 2 police cars roll into view at the end of the street. They move slowly, almost on purpose, lights flashing red and blue in full daylight like they want everyone to see. The lights bounce off parked cars, off windows, off the shiny balloons. It's bright. Too bright. Like a warning painted across the scene. Neighbors begin to step outside their homes. Doors open, curtains shift. People squint into the sun trying to understand what they're seeing. Kids stop running. One little girl drops a paper plate. Another boy freezes with juice dripping down his chin. The DJ looks up from his table, hands still hovering near the controls. The cars pull up right in front of the house. The music never comes back on. One officer steps out first. His boots hit the pavement hard. He doesn't look rushed. He doesn't look curious. He looks sure. He adjusts his belt, scans the yard, and walks straight across the grass without asking. His shadow stretches long behind him in the afternoon sun. "Party's over," he says. His voice is flat, loud enough for everyone to hear, not angry, not kind, just final. The boy looks up at him, confused, cake still on his fingers, frosting on his shirt. He blinks, like he's waiting for the punchline, like this is part of the show, like maybe the police are here to surprise him. His mouth opens a little, but no sound comes out. His mother lowers the phone just a bit, enough to look over it. Her smile doesn't disappear right away. She tries to keep it. She believes for a moment that this is a misunderstanding. She steps forward, keeping her voice calm, controlled, respectful. She asks why. Just one word, why? The officer doesn't smile back. He looks around the yard like he's counting heads, like he's measuring space, like he's searching for something wrong. His eyes move from the balloons to the kids, to the cake, to the banner. His face stays hard. "We got a complaint," he says. "Too much noise." The word complaint hangs in the air, heavy, ugly. Another officer gets out of the second car and stands near the curb, arms crossed, watching. He doesn't say anything. He doesn't have to. His silence feels like agreement. The mother nods slowly. She explains it's a birthday party. Just kids, just family, just the afternoon. She gestures to the cake, the crown, her son. Her smile tightens, stretched thin now, but still there. She keeps her tone even, the way she has learned to do, the way she has practiced, her whole life. The officer cuts her off. Says the complaint was about more than noise. Too many people blocking the street. Disturbing the peace. Disturbing the peace. The peace of a sunny day. The peace of children laughing. The peace of a birthday. He tells the DJ to shut everything down. Tells the kids to go inside. Points at the house like it's an order, not a suggestion. Some kids hesitate. They look at the mother. They look at the cake. They don't understand. The boy's smile starts to fade. Not all at once. Not dramatically. It drains slowly like air slipping out of a balloon. His eyes drop. His shoulders sink. He looks at his hands, sticky with frosting, like he did something wrong. He whispers something to his mother. She bends down to hear him. He asks if he's in trouble. Her throat tightens. She shakes her head no. She tells him he didn't do anything wrong. She tells him it's okay. But her voice cracks just enough for him to hear. The officer tells her she's being uncooperative. The word hits harder than it should. Uncooperative. For asking questions. For standing still. For filming her child's birthday. She lifts the phone again, not to challenge, not to threaten, but to hold on to the moment. Because she can feel it slipping away. Because something inside her knows this is important, even if she doesn't know why yet. The officer notices the phone. He tilts his head. His eyes narrow just a little. "Recording me?" he asks. She nods. Says yes. Says it's her son's birthday. Says she wants to remember it. He exhales through his nose. Looks away like he's already tired of her. Like she's already too much. Around them, neighbors whisper. Some shake their heads. Some pull out their own phones. Some stand frozen, afraid to move, afraid to speak. The sunlight keeps shining on all of it, unforgiving and clear. The kids slowly head toward the house, one by one, heads down, plates abandoned on tables, juice boxes half full, balloons still swaying like they don't know what's happening. The boy climbs down from the chair. The crown slips and nearly falls off. His mother catches it and puts it back on his head. Her hands linger there for a second, longer than needed, like she's trying to hold him together. The officer steps back toward the street, satisfied. He says they'll be watching, says they don't want any more problems today. Problems. The word echoes in her mind. As the patrol cars pull away, the lights still flashing, the yard feels smaller, quieter, empty in a way that has nothing to do with sound. The party isn't officially over, but everyone knows it is. The moment has been broken clean in half. The mother lowers her phone and looks at her son. He doesn't cry. That hurts more. He just looks tired, older somehow, like something has shifted inside him that won't go back. She doesn't know yet that this video will travel far beyond this block. She doesn't know it will be paused, replayed, slowed down, studied by people who have never met her or her child. She doesn't know it will reach offices with polished floors and long tables and powerful names. All she knows is that her son's birthday has been taken from him in broad daylight. She holds his hand tighter. And somewhere inside her something else tightens too, something that won't stay quiet for long. They don't leave when the music stops. That's the first thing that feels wrong. The sound is gone, the speakers quiet, the laughter lowered to whispers, but the police stay exactly where they are, like they're waiting for something else to break. One officer leans back against the patrol car, arms crossed tight across his chest, his eyes following each child as they walk toward the house. Not curious eyes, judging eyes. Like he's watching suspects, not kids with frosting on their fingers. The other officer steps closer to the mother, too close. Close enough that she can smell the coffee on his breath, see the tiny crease between his eyebrows, where patience has already run out. He looks at her phone, then at her face, then past her, like she's a problem blocking his view. "Do you have a permit?" he asks. The question hits harder than a shout. It doesn't make sense. Not here, not now. She blinks once, sure she heard him wrong. "For a birthday party?" she asks. Her voice is calm, but the words feel fragile, like glass. They hang in the air between them, heavy and exposed. A few neighbors gasp softly. Someone lets out a nervous laugh that dies immediately. The sun is still shining, bright and honest, but suddenly it feels like a spotlight. The officer doesn't answer right away. He lets the silence stretch. He looks around again, slow, taking in the folding tables, the balloons, the half-eaten cake, like he's building a case in his head. "You're blocking the sidewalk," he says finally. "You're disturbing the peace. Disturbing the peace." The phrase sounds bigger now, sharper. The mother feels her chest tighten. She glances down and sees her son pressed against her leg, his small hand gripping her jeans. The crown on his head has tilted even more, almost sliding off. His eyes are wide, searching her face. "Am I in trouble?" he whispers again. She drops to one knee so they're eye level. She forces a smile she doesn't feel. She tells him no, tells him everything is fine, tells him this has nothing to do with him. Her voice cracks on the last word, just a little, enough for him to notice. He nods, but he doesn't look convinced. Behind them, phones are coming out. Neighbors pretend to check messages while angling their cameras just right. A father across the street shakes his head slowly. A woman whispers, "This is ridiculous," under her breath. No one steps forward. Not yet. The officer clears his throat. He says there could be a fine. Says this could turn into something more if she doesn't cooperate. Mentions arrest like it's casual, like he's talking about the weather. All of it happens in front of children. All of it happens under a clear blue sky. This isn't about noise anymore. She knows that now. She feels it settle into her bones. This is about who gets to take up space, about who gets watched, about who has to explain joy like it's a crime. She straightens her back, keeps her voice low. She says she understands. She says they're packing up. She says the kids are going inside. She says thank you, even though the word tastes bitter. She has learned this language, learned it young, learned it well. The officer nods once, satisfied but not softened. The other officer laughs quietly at something on his radio. The sound makes her flinch. She steps away and makes a call. Her fingers shake as she dials a family friend. Someone who has seen this before. She turns her body slightly, shielding her son, lowering her voice. She explains what's happening in short bursts. The friend tells her to stay calm, to keep recording, to not raise her voice. Because they're watching for that, always watching for that. She hangs up and makes another call, then another. Each conversation is quick, whispered, urgent. Each person says the same thing. Be careful, don't react, let it play out. She looks back at the officers. One of them notices the phone still in her hand. "Go ahead," he says, nodding toward it. "Record. No one cares." He smirks when he says it. Like he's sure of that. Like he's done this before and walked away clean every time. But the video is already moving, already jumping from one phone to another, already landing in group chats and text threads and timelines. Parents recognize the look on the boy's face, the confusion, the fear he doesn't have words for yet. They recognize the silence that follows sirens, the way authority stands tall when it thinks no one important is watching. The mother doesn't know any of that yet. She just knows her heart is racing and she has one more number to call. She hesitates before dialing. This isn't someone she calls lightly. This isn't someone she likes to owe. He grew up on this block, ran these same sidewalks, blew out candles in backyards just like this. He learned early how systems work, how they bend, how they break kids who look like him if no one pushes back. He answers on the first ring. She doesn't waste time. She tells him everything in one breath. The sirens, the questions, the threats, her son's face. She doesn't cry. She doesn't have time. There's a pause on the line. Not a long one, just long enough to feel heavy. Then he speaks. "Put the phone down," he says. "I'm calling them." Her hand tightens around the phone. She looks at the officers again. They're still there, still watching, still sure. She ends the call and lowers her arms slowly, like she's setting something fragile on the table. Nothing changes right away. The sun keeps shining. The balloons keep swaying. The officers keep standing there. But somewhere a call is being made, and for the first time since the sirens arrived, the balance begins to shift, even if no one can see it yet. The officers don't notice the shift at first. They're too comfortable where they stand, too settled into the quiet authority of uniforms and badges catching sunlight. They've done this before. Stopped something. Watched people fold. Watched joy shrink. Daylight has always been on their side. Daylight makes everything look clean. Daylight makes people believe nothing bad can happen. One officer leans against the hood of the patrol car, tapping his fingers slowly like he's got nowhere else to be. The other scrolls through something on his phone, half smiling, half bored. The yard in front of them feels frozen in time. Balloons still sway. Tables still stand. Kids peek through the doorway, faces pressed against glass, eyes wide with questions no one is answering. The mother stands near the steps, her son tucked close, her body angled like a shield. Her phone is lowered now, but it's still on. Still recording. Still breathing. Then the radio crackles. It's a sharp sound, sudden, breaking the thick quiet like a snapped branch. The officer leaning on the car straightens without thinking. His fingers stop tapping. He looks down at the radio clipped to his chest, then lifts it closer to his mouth. "Copy," he says, casual at first. There's a pause. Something said on the other end that no one else can hear. His jaw tightens, his shoulders rise, stiffening like someone just pulled invisible strings. He steps away from the car, turning his back to the yard. "What?" he says. Another pause. Longer this time. "Yes, sir," he adds quieter. The word "sir" lands heavy, even from a distance. The second officer's phone rings almost immediately after. He glances at the screen, then at his partner, then back at the screen. The color drains from his face so fast it's noticeable. His mouth opens slightly, then closes. He answers, turning away too, pacing a few steps down the sidewalk. The mother watches all of it. She doesn't move, she doesn't speak. She just watches the way their bodies change, the way confidence leaks out of their posture, the way power shifts before anyone says a word. The officer on the phone swallows hard. He nods even though no one can see him. His voice is barely audible now. "Yes, I understand. Yes, sir. We'll handle it." He ends the call and stands there for a moment, staring at the ground. When he turns back toward the yard, he looks different. Not smaller, not weak, but exposed, like someone just reminded how thin the line really is. Second officer finishes his call and slips his phone back into his pocket. He doesn't meet anyone's eyes at first. He looks at the house again, but this time it's not with suspicion. It's with something closer to regret, or fear, or both. The man on the other end of those calls isn't just connected. He's powerful in ways uniforms recognize instantly, a civil rights attorney whose name carries weight in rooms these officers will never enter. A major donor whose checks have paid for programs and promotions. A man who has the police chief's personal number saved in his phone. A man who already has the video, already watched it more than once, already knows exactly how bad this looks. He understands something they forgot. That humiliating a black child in front of neighbors, in front of cameras, in broad daylight, isn't just wrong. It's dangerous. It's the kind of mistake that doesn't get buried. It's the kind that follows you home, the kind that ends careers. The officers walk back toward the yard slowly, like every step is heavier than the last. Their voices are softer now, controlled in a different way. The edge is gone. The threats have vanished like they were never spoken. "There's been a misunderstanding," one of them says. The word misunderstanding feels too small for what just happened. It floats there, useless. He clears his throat and gestures vaguely at the tables, the balloons, the kids watching from inside. "You can, continue," he adds. The other officer nods, forcing something that almost looks like a smile. "Yeah, our mistake." An apology follows, stiff and hollow, like it was pulled from somewhere deep and dusty. It doesn't land. It can't. Too much has already been taken. The mother listens without reacting. She doesn't smile. She doesn't argue. She just nods once, slow and careful. Her son stays pressed against her side. He looks at the officers, then at the cake, then back at her. Someone turns the music back on. The same song from before, same beat, same volume, but it sounds different now, thinner, like it's trying to fill a space that won't be filled. The boy doesn't smile. He doesn't dance. He doesn't reach for the cake again. He just watches, eyes quiet, crown still crooked on his head. Something in him has pulled back, just enough to notice. The patrol cars leave a few minutes later. No lights this time, no sirens. Just the low hum of engines pulling away like nothing happened, like they weren't just here, like they didn't just change something. But it's already moving, faster than anyone in that yard can see. Internal Affairs gets notified before the sun starts to dip. Body cam footage is flagged, reports are filed, complaints come in from 3 different phones, all telling the same story from different angles. The video spreads across screens, across cities, across conversations. By sunset, it crosses 1 million views. People pause it, zoom in. Replay the moment the boy's smile fades, the moment the officer asks about a permit, the moment the crown slips. Comment sections fill with anger and recognition, with stories that sound too familiar. Within days, both officers are suspended, then fired. The department releases a statement full of clean words and careful language. Failure to follow protocol, internal review, commitment to community trust. The words sound practiced, polished, but the community knows the truth. They know power didn't move because it suddenly found a conscience. Power moved because it was confronted by someone with more of it. Someone who refused to look away. Someone who picked up the phone and made sure this moment didn't disappear into daylight. The boy's birthday will always carry that shadow, but it will also carry something else. Proof that even when joy is treated like a threat, dignity can still push back. Proof that silence isn't the only ending. And as the sun finally lowers, casting long shadows across a quiet yard, one truth settles in deep. Power only listens when it has to. And this time it had no choice. The party never really restarts, even though the music comes back on and the balloons still float where they were tied. The sun stays bright, steady, almost stubborn, like it refuses to react to what just happened. The cake gets cut and boxed instead of eaten. Paper plates get stacked instead of passed around. Parents make quiet excuses and gather their children, voices low, eyes avoiding the yard as if looking too long might hurt. Laughter doesn't return. It can't. Something has already been taken and no amount of sound can fill that space again. The boy sits on the front steps with his crown still on his head. It's crooked, but no one fixes it this time. He watches the grown-ups move around him, the way people do after something breaks and no one knows where to put the pieces. His hands rest in his lap. Clean now. No frosting, no candles, just small hands holding on to nothing. He doesn't cry, he doesn't ask for the cake, he doesn't ask to open gifts. He just watches, like he's trying to understand what part of the day went wrong. His mother notices that first, the stillness, the quiet inside him that wasn't there before. She sits beside him and puts an arm around his shoulders. He leans into her without looking up. The house behind them is full of people, but it feels empty. The yard is still colorful, but it feels gray in a way no camera could capture. Later, after everyone leaves, after the last car pulls away and the street returns to its normal shape, she walks through the yard alone. Balloons bounce lightly in the breeze. A banner flaps against the fence. She reaches up and unties one balloon, then another. She moves slowly, carefully, like she's packing away something fragile. Inside, the cake sits in the fridge, untouched except for the candles that melted too fast. She closes the door gently like it might wake someone that night. Her son doesn't talk much. He eats a little dinner. He goes to bed early. She sits on the edge of his bed longer than usual, watching his chest rise and fall, listening to the soft rhythm of his breathing. The crown rests on the dresser, catching a sliver of light from the hallway. It looks older now, like it's seen something it shouldn't have had to see. Weeks pass. Life keeps moving the way it always does, pulling people forward whether they're ready or not. The video keeps moving too, far beyond their neighborhood, far beyond their city. People stop her in grocery stores and parking lots. They say her name. They say her son's name. They say they're sorry. They say thank you. She nods and smiles and keeps going. The officers disappear from the street. Their cars stop showing up. Their names come up in news articles, then fade out of headlines. One of them releases a public apology, carefully written, full of regret and distance. The other says nothing at all. The department updates its guidelines quietly, like fixing a leak without mentioning the flood. Meetings are held, policies are adjusted, training sessions are scheduled. But none of that reaches into her living room. None of that tucks her son into bed at night. One afternoon, weeks later, the boy sits at the kitchen table coloring. The sun pours in through the window, warm and gentle. He hums softly to himself, a tune she almost recognizes. She watches him from the counter, thinking maybe finally the moment has passed him by. Then he looks up. "Mom?" he says. She turns toward him. "Yeah, baby?" He pauses, crayon hovering above the page. His eyes are serious in a way that doesn't belong to someone his age. "Why didn't they like my birthday?" The question lands hard, quiet, clean, no anger, just confusion. It stops her in place. She sits down across from him slowly. She takes a breath. This is the moment she knew would come, even if she hoped it wouldn't. She looks at his drawing, a house, a sun, stick figures holding hands. She looks back at his face. She tells him the truth, But she softens it where she can. She tells him that sometimes people with power forget how to see others as human, that sometimes they see noise where there is joy, that sometimes happiness makes insecure people uncomfortable. She tells him that none of it had anything to do with him, that his birthday was good, that he was good. He listens quietly. He nods. He doesn't interrupt. When she finishes, he looks back down at his drawing and colors the sun a little brighter. Okay, he says, that's all. But something settles into him in that moment. Something steady, something honest. He grows up carrying two truths at the same time. One doesn't cancel out the other. They live side by side inside him. He learns that the world can be cruel, even in the middle of a bright day. He also learns that dignity, when defended, can be louder than sirens, louder than uniforms, louder than fear. His mother keeps the video. Not on her phone anymore, but backed up, saved, protected. She doesn't watch it often. She doesn't share it unless she has to. She keeps it as proof. Proof that silence protects injustice. Proof that one call, one voice, one refusal to bow can change the direction of a story. As the years pass, the moment becomes something people talk about in past tense. Remember that birthday party, they say? Remember how fast things changed? Kids who were there grow taller. Houses get repainted. Trees grow fuller. The street looks the same, but it isn't. The boy grows too. He asks questions. He pays attention. He notices who gets watched and who gets waved through. He notices who gets the benefit of the doubt and who doesn't. But he also notices something else. He notices the way people show up when it matters. The way strangers can become witnesses. The way truth can travel faster than lies when someone is brave enough to let it. One day, much later, he watches the video with his mother. Not because she wants him to, but because he asks. He sees his smaller self standing on a chair with a crooked crown and frosting on his fingers. He sees the smile fade. He watches the officers step onto the lawn. He watches his mother stand her ground without raising her voice. He doesn't flinch. He looks at her when it ends. You didn't let them scare you, he says. She smiles softly. I was scared, she says. I just didn't let that be the loudest thing. He nods. He understands. The lesson spreads far beyond that block, carried by people who saw themselves in a little boy and a quiet mother on a sunny day. It lives in classrooms and conversations and late-night talks between parents and children. It lives in tea. He paused before someone looks away. In the decision to stay and watch. In the choice to speak. Never confuse authority with righteousness. Never mistake silence for peace. And never underestimate what happens when a child's stolen joy becomes a mirror the powerful are forced to face, because the true measure of power isn't how loud you can be, or how feared, or how untouchable you seem. It's how you treat the smallest voice when no one thinks it matters.